Here I am, Saumya. How are you? Hope you are going well. So, today I have come up with another interesting topic, which is ratio and proportion. Now you might wonder, what is this new term known as ratio and proportion? Okay, so first let's begin with what is ratio. Ratio in math is a term that is used to compare two or more numbers. Ratio can be written in three forms as a colon. You can see over here it is 1 is to 2. We will pronounce it as 1 is to 2. Then, as a fraction, we can say 1 by 2. And as a word statement, we can say 1 is to 2. We will pronounce this one as a colon and as a word statement same, but the difference is that we are writing a colon and we are writing is to. Okay, so now let's see these in daily use examples. Where do we use them? Where can we use them? One of them is re- recipe Recipe ingredients. If a recipe calls for a ratio 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of sugar, we will write that as 2 is to 1. It means for every 2 cups of flour, we need 1 cup of sugar. Okay? Now, let's see another one, which is classroom seating. Okay, if a classroom has 15 girls and 10 boys, the ratio of girls to boys is 15 is to 10, which can be simplified to 3 is to 2. Now, how will we simplify over here? As ratio is basically another form of fraction, we will change 15 girls and 10 boys and this one, or you can say this one, to 15 by 10. Okay. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to find HCF of 15 and 10. So the HCF, when we find out of 15 and 10, will be 5. So we will divide these two numbers by 5. Okay. Then the answer we get will be 3 by 2. The one written over here. Okay, now we got 3 by 2 over here. So now we are going to change it into a ratio which will be 3 is to 2. Okay. And remember one point, if there is like if they give us a sentence and they ask us to tell it in this way, if a classroom has 15 girls and 10 boys, the ratio of girls to boys is, they tell us to write the ratio in a fill in the blank. So what we will do, you are not supposed to write 10 is to 15. Okay, they're asking the ratio of girls. First they're talking about the girls, then boys. So girls is to boys equals to 15 is to 10. Okay, it's simple. Okay. Now let's see some questions related to it. Uh, so now simplify the ratio. Simplify the ratio 12 is to 16. Okay, so now, first of all, I already told you that 12 is to 16. We will write it into, leave this part right now. We will go with that also, but one more time when we are done with this one, which I'm going to tell you right now. So 12 is to 16, we will write it in a fraction form, which is 12 by 16. Now we have to find the greatest common factor or the HCF, highest common factor. Okay, so the HCF will be 4. Okay, so now we have to divide both of these numbers by 4. We get 3 by 4. Am I right? Okay, so now they are telling in the ratio, simplify the ratio. So now we have to tell the answer in ratio only. We found it out in fraction, then in ratio form it will be 3 is to 4. Okay, the answer over here is 3 is to 4. Now over here what they have done, we the greatest common divisor of 12 and 16 is 4. So divide both terms by 4. Whatever I did over here, they are doing the same thing. Just the thing is that instead of writing the division form over here, they are doing 12 by 4 is to 6, sorry, 16 by 4. Okay, so these both numbers are getting this sign, this one means it's getting divided. So now over here, this number after getting divided, we will get 3 is to 4. It's basically like that only, but they have done it in a kind of different way. Now let's go for one more question, which is express the ratio as a fraction. Express the ratio 5 is to 9 as a fraction. Now let me repeat again. 5 is to 9 as a fraction. So now 5 is to 9, both of them are prime factors, so they do not have a HCF. Whatever HCF they have is a 1. So now if we divide a number by 1, we will obviously get the number itself. So no need to divide it over here. So uh, the ratio over here we will get is 5 is to 9 or 5 by 9 in the fraction form. Okay. Now yeah, so basically the answer is 5 by 9. We won't simplify it as the it it cannot be simplified in because we cannot divide both of those number by the same number. Okay, now let's go to another question. Now, what is proportion? Proportion is an equation that states that two or more ratios are equal. In other words, if two ratios are equal to each other, they are in proportion. It is often written using the double colon. Over here you can see this one, okay, this symbol, to represent the comparison of two ratios. Ratios are written as A is to B is equals to C is to D. This will be now pronounced as is to, okay, which means the ratio of A to B is in proportion is to the ratio of C to D. Okay, now let's find out how do we find out if two ratios are in proportion. Before looking at this question, let's look at this. Okay, so here there are two ratios. Uh, A A is to B, which is equal to C is to D. Now these two terms are called the means, okay, and these two which are at the outside, they are external, so they are called extremes. Okay, now means are also called as middle terms. Okay, now uh, the product of extremes shall be equal to the product of means, and if this is true, then they are in proportion. So what is the value over here? A into D, we can write it as AD also. We will learn this later in algebra and all. So AE equals to BC. Okay, now let's look at this one. How to find out if two ratios are in proportion? If I have already explained this to you, so let's skip this part. Yeah. Now let's go for with some questions of ratio and proportion. Now we have to over here they have given us 7 by x equals to 14 by 16. So now don't think that why is x coming over here? What is this now? X is just a term. It's basically you can say x replaces a number. Uh yeah, so now we have to find the value of x. X is a question mark. It's a missing number. So now we have to simplify 14 by 16 to 7 by 8. So we will divide it, 14 by 16, we will divide it by 2. Okay, what we will get? 7 by 8. Now we have 7 by x equals to 7 by 8. What we will do now? Since both the numerators over here are same, right? So the denominators must also be same. Why? Now you might wonder why cannot be different. It can be 14, 15, anything. But now what the sign over here given is equal. You see, it's equal. So the numerators are already equal, and so shall be the denominators. So over here we can find out that 8 will be our denominator. Okay, I will repeat once more. What we have to do is, see, what we have to do is, first of all, simplify 14 by 16 to 7 by 8. Now, how we will simplify it to 7 by 8? Divided by 2, divided. The answer we will get is 7 by 8. Fine. Now, both of these, one minute, both of these fractions over here are in proportion to each other. They are in equal sign. Okay. So what we will do is, over here when we did this part, we got 7 by 8 as our answer, and now we have 7 by x equals to 7 by 8. Right. Now 7 by 8 is basically a simpler form of 14 by 16. Now they are telling it's equal in sign, and the numerators are equal. So shall be the denominators. Okay. So as 8 over here is the denominator, and then x shall also be 8, the same as the one over here. Okay. So then x equals to 8. Fine. Now let's go with another one. For 3 by 5 and 6 by 10. Now we have to find out if they are in proportion. So what we will do is, we will first of all write, there are two ways we can do this. First of all, we will change both of these into ratio. Okay. Uh, right now this part is blank, but for the timing, let's give this. Okay. 6 by, no, 6 is to 10. Okay, so now we will multiply 5 and 6 over here. We will get 30. Okay, remember 30. Now we will multiply 3 and 10. What we will get? 30. Okay, now both of them give us the same product. So the ratios are in proportion. Now let's go through another one way, which is 3 by 5 is to 6 by 10. This is called cross multiplication. You might have learned it in grade 5. So what we will do is 3 into 10, the same thing, but it is in cross multiplication, which equals to 30, and 5 into 6, which also equals to 30. Since both products are equal, the ratio are in proportion. These are the basic about ratio and proportion. In my next video, we will do some word problems about ratio and proportion. Thank you for now. See you soon.